Top Gun Maverick. Great movie, great flick. Unbelievable that they would be able to follow up an iconic classic like Top Gun 30 years later with this film. I was nervous that they'd be able to do it, but they did it. Tom and company, Chris McQuarrie and crew and everyone, they accomplished it. And I want to talk about this, the actual 4K UHD disc on this episode of That Guy Talks Movies. Now, I didn't do a review on Top Gun Maverick, on the actual film. I had been on hiatus or whatever it was, taking a break. So I didn't really review it. I'll talk a little bit about it right here, tell you what a great film I thought it was. But I'll give you more my take on this disc because this is a must-own for your physical media collection. So we'll get into it next on That Guy Talks Movies. Welcome to That Guy Talks Movies. I'm That Guy Talking Movies. And if you are new to the channel, hey, appreciate you watching. Appreciate you being here. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button before you leave. That way, you can join me for all the other things that I talk about. Physical media, streaming, blah, 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 movies, all that good stuff. For those of you who have already stuck with me, those of you who have subscribed, appreciate you being here. Let's get into it. All right, so Top Gun Maverick, really quick. All right, so I was a big fan of the first movie way back in the day. I was younger, but it's still a classic film. I've seen it through the years over and over again. It's one of Cruise's top and, obviously an iconic film, dogfights and naval aviation and all that good stuff. In fact, I wanted to be a pilot when I was young. I wanted to fly F-14s and be one of those dudes, but I'm 6'5". I was probably about 6'4" when I was in high school. So wouldn't pan out for me. I found that out when I went to Grumman Aerospace for a tour, and they were explaining how those cockpits are engineered a certain way. They're built a certain way, and if you're too tall, it just doesn't work. They don't customize them for guys that are too. You kind of got to be just the right size for that. Anyway, tangent. All right, so yeah, so the original Top Gun, great flick. When I heard they were making Top Gun 2, I think just like everybody else, there was that nervous thing that stirs in you. You're like, oh, really? Really, they're going to do another one? Tom, you don't need the money. You don't need the visibility. You're doing fine with Mission Impossible and all the other stuff. Like, please. And I figured just like every other film that, they decided to do 30, 40 years later with a follow-up, it would just be, they'd throw some shit together, whatever. And it would just be garbage, not memorable, embarrassing. Not the case with Top Gun Maverick. I am pleased to say, it took me a while before I saw it in the theater, but I was committed to seeing it in the theater. I knew it had to be seen in the theater. And from everyone I heard, it was fantastic. So I was like, I got to see it. So I saw it late, but I did see it. And it was mind-blowing. It was fantastic. The opening credits, the music, the Top Gun theme, the Kenny Loggins music, the carrier jets with the F-18s flying off of them, the throwbacks to the original Top Gun, all the nostalgia pieces that are thrown in there. They're done just right. It's not cheesy. It's not where you're like, oh shit, they're just, regurgitating the same stuff over and over and over again, which they usually do in these kind of movies, right? They didn't do that here. The way it's done is very, very good. And I got to shout out and say that's, it's Tom Cruise, but Chris McQuarrie as well. All right. Their collaboration is just freaking magic. So great performance by Cruise. The supporting cast, blah, you really won't notice them. You care a little bit about them, but not too much. But it's really about Miles Teller, who plays, Goose's son, and who's also a pilot. And he's got the thing going on with Tom Cruise, with Maverick. And, obviously he's got resentment towards Maverick because of his father's death and all that stuff and some other reasons, right? No spoilers here. But just a fantastic film, emotionally gripping, visually gripping. It was done so freaking well. I watched some of the behind the scenes stuff on this where they talk about the cameras that were built. They're like near IMAX quality cameras, 6K cameras that are put inside the cockpit. And apparently Tom and company and the supporting cast flew these F-18s. It's mind-blowing. It really is mind-blowing. And it looks incredible. Now, you're going to see, I'm kind of moving into the actual disc now, but the aspect ratio, so you get the IMAX and then the regular aspect ratio. So you're going to see that shifting in the actual video. If you're actually complaining about that and you're noticing that, then there's something wrong with you. You probably shouldn't be watching the movie. But anyway, yeah, let's talk more about the disc. So this was a very anticipated disc, I'm sure, by many, based on what you saw in the theater. So you figure, you know what? Let's see what this is going to be about. And the 6K, it was shot on 6K and then scaled to 4K. So it was like, okay, the source was fantastic. Let's see what they do with this. They did magic with this. This is absolutely perfect from beginning to end. The absolute best 4K disc in my collection right now, I'm going to have to say. Now, I might have to explore. I know Space Odyssey 2001 was also very high reference, but I think this is going to take the place. I think this is a definitive 4K disc for any home theater enthusiast collection. If you don't have a 4K television, if you don't have a setup, a proper setup, and you're not getting Dolby Vision, HDR10, you're not getting Dolby Atmos, as far as sound goes, this would be the reason to do it. This would be the reason to do it. If you don't know what I'm talking about, find a friend who has a really good home theater setup in 4K and has it all tweaked out just the right way, with the right cables, the right setup, the right tweaking, the right settings. Watch this movie and then you'll be sold. Yeah, it's flawless in the color grading, the dynamic range, the color's there's no oversaturation. Sometimes they do that oversaturation thing, especially in a movie like this where you've got this Don Simpson, Jerry Bruckheimer kind of film, which is just deep orange tones and things are very saturated. Not the case in this. Very well done, beautifully shot, excellent detail, crisp, clean. Like I said, reference material. You put this on your 4K television and have company or have someone just watch this and they're going to be blown away. So that's all I'm going to say about the disc. There are some special features on there. There's like a behind the scenes thing with the actual making. It's not a full making of, but it talks a lot about the aerial combat scenes and the way all that stuff was filmed, like I was talking about before with the different cameras. And then Tom's commitment to aviation. There's a whole segment on that where he's talking about his love of planes, and one of the planes in the film, like an older plane, a prop plane, is his actual personal plane. There's 2 music videos from the soundtrack for the actual movie. There's a Tom was in Cannes, and there's a discussion, like a masterclass discussion with him on stage, and he talks about acting and other stuff like that. There's some other things on there as well that were interesting. But yeah, this is just the movie that you want to own. Let me say this. Even if you're not a home theater enthusiast, like you don't buy these discs all the time, you kind of occasionally buy something, this is one you definitely want to own. Definitely want to own this one. All right. And to reiterate again, if you don't have the proper setup, I have a video on that on this channel. I'm going to put it somewhere, link it somewhere here in this video, where I talk about a proper home theater setup. I shouldn't even say proper. I should say a great way to watch movies, and how you want to set your stuff up to watch really good movies. I talk about that. And if you want to find other sources, Google it, find out. But this is a really good, I'm pressing this because this is a perfect example of why you'd want a really good setup. I'm waving it around. Am I distracting everyone? Anyway, that's it for me on That Guy Talks Movies. I thought this was a fantastic film, great follow-up for so many reasons. If you didn't see it in the movie theater, I actually feel really bad for you. I hope they bring it back. And like I said, if you don't own the disc yet or you don't plan on getting it, make sure you change your mind and get it. All right? Leave a comment below. Let me know if you saw this movie in the theater or if you waited or if you saw it on streaming. Let me know if you're going to get the disc. There's actually, getting back to this before I go. So this is the regular slipcover edition where you've got the slipcover and you've got the actual disc, which is not in there. It's in my actual player right now. There's no Blu-ray with this. It's all on that one 4K disc. There's also, I know Walmart has a Steelbook edition. I believe there's another Steelbook edition from someone else, maybe Target, I think. And I think Amazon has an edition coming out that you can pre-order. I'm not pre-ordering it yet. I haven't really been compelled to. I looked at it briefly, but I didn't see, on the Amazon site, I didn't see what was really, whether it was worth owning. It's a pretty big box thing. It has like special stuff like dog tags, I think, and all these little things, trinkets, but haven't committed to it yet. Anyway, just wanted to share with you that there are options out there. Check them out. I think this was like $30. I got this on Amazon. And I think the Steelbook is a little bit more. But anyway, that's it for That Guy Talks Movies. Like this video. Let me know again in the comments what you thought of Top Gun Maverick. You think they're going to do another one? I hope they don't. I pray that they don't. All right. And again, if you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button. I really appreciate that. And I will see you on the next That Guy Talks Movies.